Are we going live?
Oh.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Success by Hangout. And we're live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock GTM. And we are continuing Success by Hangout Mindset series and the techniques we use to power our success in our online business. So, if you're watching and you have a question, please do pop them in the chat box and we'll make sure we can answer them the best we can for you. And just a reminder, you can always catch us on Facebook and on G+ page Success by Hangout. So good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me this evening on this lovely evening we have. Can I just introduce everyone who we've got with us today? Can I say hello to Kat? Introduce yourself and say hi. Hi, Kat. Lovely to have you this evening.
Lovely to be here, Jerry.
Great stuff. And Dave Menzies, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Excellent, Jerry. Good to be here again. Looking forward to tonight's chat.
Oh, awesome. Great. And we have Tarek Benson. How are you, Tarek?
I'm awesome. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's great to have you here. And we have Valda. Hi, Valda. Just say hello, Valda.
Hi, everybody.
Well done.
Hi.
Hi. So, that's great, Valda. Don't worry. So, as I said, tonight's topic, we're continuing from last week's fascinating subject on techniques of mindset. We talked about all sorts of things last week, and I think we enjoyed it so much. We're going to continue on with that theme. So to kick off tonight, I thought I'd just share with you some of my take on things and what I've taken away from it so far. And I'm going back to when we talked about meta stories, which from the book Stuart Lichman and Joe Vitale. The book's called How to Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast. I think that's right. I'll put the title in the chat box so you can, whatever, get the copy of the book. I'll give you the title and the author in the chat box. And he talked about meta stories, and I think we had a lovely session about writing your meta story, what you want to have, using different languages, and real detail, how you feel, how you look, how you sound, what you can see, what you can touch, and you write it over and over and over again. And there's another book that I've read, and I don't know if the guys here have read, Think Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he talks about a similar thing, and he describes the 6 steps that you read. You just basically have 6 steps, and you write a statement that you read to yourself aloud once before you go to bed and once when you wake up in the morning. So here's examples. You want some money, and you have to write the first step is to define how much money you want. Then the second step is define the time you want it, the date you want to have that particular amount of money you desire. Then you have to write about your intent to give in return for receiving that money. And then the next step is you have to define your plan, and whatever that plan is, give as much detail as before. Like in the Lichman's meta stories, you got to put it in real detail and start that plan whether you're ready or not. And I find that quite interesting, really, is that transition from intent to commitment. And then the 5th one, you put that all together, so you got your statement. And the 6th and final step is, as I said, you read it once in the morning when you wake up, and then when you go back to bed, just before you go to sleep, you read it again. And then again, there's this repetition that we talk about, and getting it so that in your unconscious, you actually start believing in what you're actually writing down. So those are a couple of examples, and I think what we're talking about when we're describing this technique is reverse engineering. So in entrepreneurship, when you reverse engineer your work and your thought processes, so you start with your big why, as we began with, and then you define your plan, and your plan gets really exact and precise, and then you start working backwards, as in reverse engineering, so problem solving, taking the actions necessary to get to where you're going. So it's reverse engineering is, in essence, is how I take it as what we're talking about using this technique. So for all of this, I've discovered so far is 3 sort of main points that I use to move me forward in my business. And the first one is persistence, consistent. Be consistent and precise. Take daily action, whether you're ready or not. And I find that interesting because for some people that can be a block, a fear factor into it. So it's pushing yourself forward and just doing it whether you're ready or not. Go with the flow. I've heard the terms used. Figure it out along the way. Jump off a cliff and learn how to fly. All these sort of metaphors just means as soon as you got your plan, just go ahead and do it. Then the second sort of conclusion that comes from this is you need time. So to train your brain, right, to commit to this new way of thinking, this whole new thought process, to adapt to go against the basic human instinct of being skeptical to new things, is going to take time and effort to reprogram that thought process. You know, it's going to take time to be auto-responsive, in other words, in the language you use, the habits and rituals, and your belief system, which goes on to my third conclusion from this is that I've taken away is that you need to have faith. A lot of it is talked about faith and belief that what you're doing is absolutely right and is true and it's going to happen. And as I go back to what Napoleon was saying, when you say read out that statement, you have to see, feel, believe in yourself that you're ready to take possession of the money that you've written out in your statement that you're going to have. And also in the Stuart Lichman book with your meta story is that repetition over and over again. And that's a technique you use to build up your confidence, to build up your belief system and your faith, and to a level that your subconscious is auto-responsive to take the necessary action to succeed. And this is just my opinion. This is my take on it. This is not a teaching. This is not something that I'm an expert in. It's just my thoughts and observations on what we've been talking about so far. And with SFM in the startup modules, you go through the 90-day blueprint, which was created by the co-founder Jay Kubizak. He designed a 90-day blueprint, which includes reading the Stuart Lichman book. And it's the exact blueprint he used to become very successful, and you use that blueprint for your own action and success. I have heard so many successful entrepreneurs say, have a blueprint, have a clear, concise action, a goal, be persistent, be consistent, and do have. The way I look at this, if you want something or a change in your life, follow someone who's already got it and do what they do. And that is my take on it. So with all that being said, I would like just to go through every one of their thoughts and comments or techniques that they've used and what they've taken from our mindset series so far. So who would like to go first? Can I go to Kat? These always look. Hello, Kat.
Yes. It was amazing to listen to you, Jerry. I was taking notes, as you can see. I mean, I was completely absorbed. I think you've got it nailed to a T here. I mean, unbelievable.
Yes, I do. I do take it.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back to something that we said last week that
Yeah.
sort of had my mind in a bit of a well, not turmoil, but it was questioning it anyway.
Yeah.
And I was talking about going to hug trees.
Oh yes.
And you asked me were there steps to this, and of course
Yes.
this was like yes, of course there's steps, but I was just at a loss because I was anyway. So the it starts with me is that I like to go for a walk because the walk sort of clears your mind. It's one way of clearing your mind, and which is what we were saying is one way of sort of soft meditation, shall we say? Although any meditation is brilliant, and the woods is a very good place because it sort of has the nearest to 0 decibels you can get. And so that's how it started. So you sort of go from there, and you're walking in the woods, and then if you can actually find an oak tree or some sort of tree and touch it, and that's brings you even close to 0, and that way you can get close to 0 and clear that mind. Also, you can also do all the things you were saying is like basically all the things you said are all also very important in the way that you change, as you said, your subconscious mind, and you'll have various tools and ways to do that, but that is invariably what you're doing because, as you so rightly said, we're completely different way of thinking to what we're normally taught in traditional corporate or traditional economy, the way that life goes. So it is quite a way to get your head around this, and I do think that the blueprint that they give us in the beginning, like you say, do as just follow somebody who's done it before.
Yeah.
It worked for them, so why shouldn't it work for me? That is sort of blind faith, as it were. And I don't know whether I've given this example before, but I love it because this is Guy Ferdman used this from Satori Prime. He says that, it's like when you're driving a car at night, the road is there, but your headlights can only see so far. But you're not going to suddenly just drop off the end of the island, or although in England you have more chance of doing that than we here on the continent, as it were. But the road, you just have faith that the road is there, and you have some sort of blind faith that the road is going to be there. So that is highly, highly important of this faith that you do, as you so rightly said, you just get into action, start doing it, and have the faith. That and I think that that those are two very important points. Well, points that I happen to be working on is that you're just learning the new techniques and trying to just do them, reformat your brain, as it were, or your subconscious, and just have the faith. For me, it's very important.
Oh, thanks, Kat. That's awesome. What do you reckon on all this, Dave? What do you think?
Well, first of all, great opening, Jerry. That was incredible. Tough one, but I'll do what I can. I was scribbling some notes down as well.
Oh, have you?
So,
I try to keep it. Yeah, go on.
What I've scribbled down here. Yeah, well, faith. Since we're talking about faith, I think that's particularly relevant, maybe to an online business, because it's so different to what you're used to in the offline world. Because the chances are you get involved in the business, you put the money into the business and start putting the time in before you actually meet anyone in person in most occasions. So that in itself can be, for a lot of people, a bit of a leap in faith. Okay, now you can meet people by video, you can meet them on Facebook, you can read blogs, that sort of thing. But you don't really get that face-to-face, looking in the eye experience. You do eventually, particularly with SFM and quite soon. But for most people going from the offline to the online world, there definitely is that leap of faith kind of thing. And then because it's so different, as you've both said so far, you also have to have faith in you've made the right decision. And as you say, just decide that you're going to follow it through, have faith in yourself. The other one I've scribbled down here, and I think we were talking about this earlier on, was all of these techniques and books and all of this sort of wisdom that's been accumulated on this side of things all really comes down, as far as I'm concerned, to reprogramming. Completely changing the way that you've been programmed since infancy. really, because we have, whether we like it or not, most people have been trained in a very traditional, very conservative sort of way of expecting certain incomes, and you're kind of trained to follow more or less the same path as everyone else, and have that normal job and aspire to these normal kind of things and retire and all that stuff. So it is quite a challenge. That's depending on how old you are, how long you've been involved in that. Quite a challenge to reprogram yourself to thinking entirely differently.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've scribbled down, I was thinking for some reason while we were talking about some stuff that I've heard Jay. I've been on a couple of webinars with Jay Kubasek where he's talked about our attitude to wealth, which is for a lot of people pretty weird. People, again, it's part of programming that being rich or rich people are in some way not like everyone else. They're in some way have got lucky or have it's undeserved wealth in some way. That's definitely a big sort of attitude that's out there, and whether or not you think you've got that, a lot of people don't feel that they're entitled to. They have a strange attitude to money, and I guess it goes back to what you were talking about around visualizing and reverse engineering, and imagining that wealth and then coming back to how you're going to do it, which is essentially what most wealthy people have done anyway. So those are the what I've sort of come up with so far.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, we'll expand on that, I'm sure, as we go through this evening. Tarek, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Tarek. What's your thoughts and look on what we've been talking about so far?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything. And one thing that strikes for me is that willpower. It's like if you want something, it's how bad you want it and how you align your subconscious mind and your mind to get it. Because some people may be like, oh, I want to have an online business, I want this, I want that, but deep down, they don't agree with what they're saying. So it's how you align your mind to achieve what you want to achieve. And even though you don't have the resources at the moment to achieve it, it's how you work hard to achieve it. I've given this example before. I remember when I was back in Africa, I knew that I wanted to school abroad, but my parents didn't have the fund to fund me to school abroad. But I just knew that if I get the good grades, I'll definitely get an admission. And once I get an admission, I can get a good school. And I just focused on getting good grades. So you take everything step at a time, and you ultimately achieve your goal that you set out for yourself.
Yeah. Right, I seem to have lost you, Tarek. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi. I seem to have lost you. I can hear you for a while.
Yeah, that was my point.
I was engrossed in what you were saying, Tarek. That was what. Thank you so much. Oh, hi, Valda. What do you think of it so far, Valda? I know you're fairly new to us, so have you got anything to share with us, or you just taking it all in?
Well, I guess I'm trying to take all in at the moment, and yeah, I would agree to everything what was said earlier. And as I have been listening, at the moment for me, I just told to somebody today that I have this time when I'm having a lot of information coming into me and coming my way. I need this time for observing a lot of information, and then I believe there will come another time when I'll start to sort on, put every single information in correct shelf to work for me and work on it. So it's actually very difficult when you've got something so huge like this online and the digital life starts with, and it is very difficult to find that one particular way or that one particular yeah, way which you would like to choose and do and go for, and yeah, definitely it is about your mindset.
Because it goes back to what we're saying is that everybody is different, and there are so many different techniques you can use. We're using the ones like the Stuart Lichman, the Nicole Hill, because these are the ones we were introduced to. Well, for me personally, I was introduced to when I started with SFM. I'm sure Kat and Satya, they read a lot of other books as well, but it's all everyone's different and have every way of thinking, but what works for one person may not necessarily work for somebody else. But as long as you keep moving forward and taking action and trying new things and getting over this concept of trying new things and push forward, there is something you can find. And as I said, it does take time to develop this new mindset. So yeah, well, thank you for that, Valda. That's really interesting. Hi, Kieran. Hello.
Hey guys. Hi.
Hello. Hi,
everyone.
Betty. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks.
What's your thought on all this?
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. That's a really nice introduction there. Yeah, brilliant stuff. I was writing down some notes myself. Really good stuff. First of all, I just wanted to thank Kat as well for an amazing video she done, hugging the oak tree. She found an oak tree. That was a great video because it's got me out looking for trees now. I've been looking for some trees.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I want to feel what she felt because I was feeling the video definitely, and I really want to connect with the nature just like Kat did. So thanks for that video, absolutely brilliant, spot on.
So do you think, Kieran, once you've gone and stepped into this mindset and opened up this whole process for yourself, you've moved into a different way of thinking that you have done before you started doing your online business, or is it something you've have looked at before your online business? Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm not so clear on that.
No, it's fine. It's cool. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. Actually, you did touch on my point when you mentioned what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes a whole heap of sense for me. Someone might have a great success with blogging, other people might not, or they might not be willing to wait for the time it takes to start getting traction. And it all depends on what your what route you want to take. I mean, we're given the tools. I mean, we're following in the footsteps of Jacob Gibson, Stuart Ross. We're following in their footsteps. They're giving us the tools. They don't have to write. They don't have to write our script. They're not holding our pen. We're writing our own page.
Yeah.
So we're that's what I like. Personally, is the freedom to express ourselves, be creative, and basically do whatever we want to do, and not have to conform. And I'm not a person that likes to conform. It's nice to be able to do what I want to do, And if I want to go and hug a tree, I'm going to go and hug a tree, and you can't stop me.
That's awesome, Kieran. That really is powerful. I totally with you. Yes, and I think that's what's brought us all together. We all have that similar mindset that we're not in the same box as everybody else. We are open up to a whole new world, which is a big world out there, to a lot of things. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, Kieran. That's just brilliant. I just wanted to read this out actually that I found today, if I can find it on my computer. And what it is from, I don't know if people know this guy, it's called Mike Brundrant, can't pronounce his name, Brundrant. He's a professional self-development coach, I would say he would be described as. And I saw one of his posts today, and I'll just read this out to you because I thought it sort of ties in with what we're talking about this evening. And it says, "Enough is enough," with the phrase, "sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yes, you want things to be different. You're really tired of suffering. You wish you could snap your fingers and make it all go away. Deep down, however, you are not so sick and tired of being sick and tired. You can actually do sick and tired forever. In fact, this is what you're used to do, isn't it? Giving up what you're sick and tired of means letting go of all that's familiar and embracing something new and different. It's risky. Are you willing to risk making your life different? To take the mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, social, and very personal risk? When it comes right down to it, are you really up for it? And thus the conflict is in your soul. This is the conflict you must resolve before feeling sick and tired will mean anything. So I thought I'd share that with you guys this evening because I thought that was really quite profound and sort of brings together this whole new concept of, this whole new way of thinking. And what I'd like to go now, so we've talked about visualization, repetition, reverse engineering, meditation. And as I mentioned earlier, there's so many different techniques out there that life coaches use to teach other people, for example. There's so many different ways. So I just want to throw this out there to you guys and see if you can answer this question. Do you have to be talented or confident person to succeed? Who would like to jump in and answer that question? Anyone, Kat? Do you think you have to be... Hello. I thought I'd come to you because I know you talk to me. Do you have to be talented and confident person to succeed?
No.
No.
You have to want to succeed. And I think what you said is so true, because you can say certain things, but if deep down in your heart you're quite happy putting up with sick and tired, then that's fine. But unless you're willing to kick that in the butt, it's very difficult what we're doing. It's not so easy at all. I mean, we make it sound we just read a bit of paper and do all this, and it's not at all that easy. And not only we sort of fighting with our own beliefs and trying to fob off what we're saying it to ourselves, but then there's everyone out there that's telling us don't be so silly, no one's saying, hey, that's really good what you're doing, I'm so proud of you, show me how you do it. Unfortunately, because they're all missing out as far as I'm concerned, but each to his own. And I think that's terribly sad that it's always the select few that know, that have such a hard time, trying to convey it to other people, and it is very hard. So you have to be double strong, in fact. And I think that's why, well, Dave was saying earlier on, the rich, they are on a sort of completely different wavelength, because they've had to combat that war and the war. Well, I say war, but it is a war. I'm at war with myself in my own mind constantly. But I now have the tools to combat that quite happily. And it's you go a step and a step and a step and a step.
Cool.
So I think anybody can do it. Everybody should do it. I think, but not everyone will have the stamina and the guts.
Oh, thanks for that, Kat. That's great. Now, before I just move on to Satya to ask her views, if anyone's watching and would like to ask a question, please do pop your questions in the chat box, and hopefully we'll do our best to answer them the best we can. So, Satya, can I bring you out to share your thoughts on what we've been talking tonight?
Yeah, so you were saying, Jerry, do you need talent and confidence to succeed? Yeah. I think, we often hear this phrase, it's maybe 5% talent or 10% talent and 90% hard work. So even someone who may have a flair for music and playing an instrument, if they don't put the work in, then they're never going to become really, really good at that. if you look at a concert violinist or a concert pianist, they put in hours and hours of work. They have this innate talent, but without all those hours of work, they wouldn't be up on that stage. So I think that's, you really need both, you know, whatever your innate talent is, and we all have something.
Yeah.
But we do need to put the work into developing that and improving and, you know, using that. And it's like being given a deck of cards. You know, what are you going to do with them? Just leave them, you know, your deck of cards in life, or being given a toolkit. It can lie in the cupboard, or you can actually go and start building things with it. Confidence. I think you do need confidence, but I think that maybe people can sometimes confuse kind of outside confidence and inner confidence. You know, just because someone is extrovert and comfortable talking publicly, for example, it doesn't mean that they have inner confidence. We can all put on an act, but you know, sometimes to be confident means that you're confident enough to show the deepest part of yourself and the most intimate part of yourself. And I think, you know, inner confidence is the thing. And you see it again with artistic people. You know, so many artistic people are maybe not so comfortable socially, and they're very introverted, but you know, when they have to step up and create a picture or talk about their art, or you know, play their music or whatever, then that's when you really see them in their confidence, and in that zone where kind of all those doubts and fears and hang-ups that they have about themselves just fall away, and then, you know, the music comes out or the art comes out. So you can develop that inner confidence. I think you'll succeed. I think you need it to succeed also.
For me, for someone who didn't have much confidence when I started this, for me, getting through that barrier is repetition. Doing everything over and over and over and over again. Especially when I did the 90-day video challenge, I had to do it, force myself every single day, to the point where it become almost auto-responsive. It's like, right, okay, I've got to do a video, and I didn't really worry about it. I did some preparation, but I knew I just had to get the video out there. And now I've transitioned from that to the Video Hub Development Group, to now fine-tuning that. But now I've got that confidence, I can expose myself to critique, you know, and to develop my skills. And I think if you've got a lower confidence level, for me the key is repetition, without a doubt, as a tool to use to get the, you know, momentum going.
Thanks. Can I would just ask a question? Jerry, where would you say, what sort of, on the 90-day challenge, for example, where along did you sort of come out of this fear of doing it, as it were, to being a little more confident?
I think the transition for me was around about 60, 70 days. Because I had
we're quite, you know, far in.
Yeah, before I can actually 100% honestly say it's gone. I mean, I'm still a bit nervous, but for me, it was getting through. I would literally have physical symptoms in the beginning of, like, you know, the panic attack scenario. So from that, it was I knew that was my biggest hurdle in all of this, was the fear of having no confidence and being reclusive, isolated, all the things I've talked about before on your Hangout and some other on my blogs and things. And for me, doing a Hangout and hosting a Hangout is a huge affirmation and success. But I know I'm just beginning, so even though you have little successes, you're just building those blocks to the bigger picture, and it's just building that. It's the same if you have little, I don't call them failures, challenges. You know, something hasn't gone quite right. and some people will look at that in disproportionate as, you know, oh, that's it, I failed. I don't look at that anymore. I look at it, oh, that's a challenge, something you need to fix, because you're, as you come to reverse engineering, you're taking it back a step, and you're just doing it in that way. So it does take time, yeah. But for me, Kat, yeah, for sure, it did take me a lot longer. But you know, I've got there now.
Well, no, I think it's highly interesting because it's something you're doing every day, and you have something to show for it. You've got a video at the end of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
to change your mindset is you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Initially, and to, you know, it's not just 60 days or 70 days. I think it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
But I just I think that was, you know, I wanted to make sure that it was kind of towards the end that you
for sure. I think, yeah, and I think definitely by the last week I became more aware of my changes. I think it was the last 2 weeks, in fact. I think I actually realised a change in my not in my personality, but in my confidence, in that I can actually go out and speak to people in a different way than I used to. So, yeah, just to use an example. Hi, Dave. Thank you, Kat. Sorry, thank you, Kat. Hi, Dave.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say I've put in the notes there. I hope you don't mind me saying. I remember at your Momentum Day in January.
Yeah.
You were the change. I just put in the notes there. The change that I've seen in you since then is truly incredible. Because I remember you saying to me, I didn't actually. That wasn't the impression I got of you at the time, but you were saying to me that you had been almost too nervous to even go into the room.
Yeah.
At Momentum Day, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but I think you said you had been in the toilet trying to prepare yourself to be able to going into that room full of people. I mean, shit, look at you now.
I know. I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. I've seen that. You mentioned the 90-day challenge. I've seen that happen to quite a few people in different levels and in different ways, but that's just been an incredible thing, you know. I mean, Sri.
Yeah, that's from January this year.
Yeah.
So from January this year to now.
Amazing.
That's the journey I've been on. Yeah.
Sri himself seems to have turned into an almost completely different person as well. When I was first aware of him, he was very quiet, very unassuming, hardly there at all, and look at him now.
We can't stop him now, can we?
Well, he's been inspiring to
yeah. This is how powerful mindset is. I think that's a really, examples of how powerful mindset is, on how you can get to a state of level. And as I said, for me, it is being consistent, absolutely committed and consistent is the key to where you want to be. So thanks for that, Dave. Thanks for sharing. Can't wait till next Momentum Day. I will walk in there. Hi.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Kieran. I'm just trying to get round everybody before. Hello. What's your thoughts on this, then, Kieran? Do you have to be confident and talented to be successful?
It's like you said, it's confidence. It's just something that grows, doesn't it? It just grows up, grows. It takes a little time, you know. We can't be confident with something that we're not aware of talking. If we haven't got that knowledge, then we're not able to be confident because we're not knowing what we're talking about. So the two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And once you have that bit of knowledge, then it's the confidence comes with it, doesn't it? That's what I find, definitely. And really, I totally agree. It's just about repetition. It's it really is just doing something over and over again. And what I like about what we do here is we take something that we're really not comfortable with and turn it into something that is a good thing, a good tool, a tool in our armor, a tool on our belt. So that's one of the best things for me. Putting yourself out of your comfort zone. This business is all about taking yourself out of the comfort zone, and taking on new challenges and becoming a better person in the process.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more, Kieran. It is a great thing to have, and we're all here as a community as well. Help each other. You can point each other in right directions, and as I say, it's just reaching out, helping out each other. Find out what other people use, what techniques they use. We've recommended books, haven't we, on Hangouts? We can put ideas. Oh, I've read this book. I found this really helpful. Go and do this. It's like your quit smoking, Kieran. You inspired me with the Alan. Was it the Alan? What is it? No. What's his name? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his video. So things like that, can really, really transform your life, into something completely different, and that's what this community brings as well. So yeah, it's all good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Alan Carr. Yeah, he actually he's set up like worldwide kind of clinics as well for people where, and it comes back to how receptive someone is. The sort of the methods, the methodology that he uses to get people to quit smoking. It's all about. It's not scaring someone to quit smoking.
No.
It's not using scare tactics. It's really. He says to you, you can smoke as many cigarettes as you want while you listen to this. But just implement what he's saying. That's all he's doing, and that's what we're doing here. We're just implementing what Stuart Ross is telling us to do, and Jacob's that we're just implementing what they want us to do. Like with the new blog challenge, which is coming out, which I'm really quite excited to get part of. Thank you, Satya, for letting me know, because I missed out on the Friday webinar actually. So it's really great that we've got a challenge set by our leader that we can all do to make ourselves, to get growth, to progress in this business by getting the leads, by doing what we need to do, by following instructions and helping each other out.
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. And I think these challenges that are set up is for that, to train you to get the discipline, to get that repetition. So once you've got that, as I say, it becomes a habit forming, or is it an almost auto-responsive action that you're in that zone. It's like when you think back to the corporate world and you go to your 9-to-5 job and you have a set of tasks to do, and in the beginning you get shown what to do, and then you have to learn and get the skills. Before SFM, I was, and before my children, I was an admin assistant for most part, then customer service, and then the PA, and you just had to learn, do all these administrative, dead boring processes that you have to learn, but then you automatically do it, and then you end up teaching somebody else. And just think of that as learning that process on a computer is in your brain. You're learning these different techniques, and without that repetition and consistency and help, and to create that habit that it all becomes auto-responsive, you know exactly what you're going to do in the morning as soon as you switch on that computer. You got your action plan, you got your daily tasks. It's no different than doing your job, than doing your business, and all part of the mindset is doing the tasks, doing the tools, doing the techniques every single day, as if you would be doing your job, because this is your job at the end of the day. You've just made that transition from the old economy to the digital economy.
I've also got a friend who's just come out of university, and for his first year, he didn't actually bother getting up for the first lecture of the day. He couldn't be bothered, he was up messing around with his mates, and then after the first year, he wondered why he wasn't getting the results that he should be getting, and then it kind of dawned on him that he needs to be getting up and managing his time, which is about time management. And I think this is the most critical thing. If we want to start seeing results, we need to manage our time, and that's what he realized. It's a little bit like the university, where put in what you get out, And if you're willing to get up early and put the extra hour in at the beginning of the day, you're going to see the difference in results. Yeah. What do you think about that, Tarek? Does that make sense? You're the graduate man.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I remember when I was in university, I never missed a lecture because I knew how important it was. Because some lectures might not make sense, but you might just get a golden nugget out of it that might be very useful in examination period. So that's how I see business as well. It's like a farm. You have to plant something in order for it to harvest. If you do not post ads, if you do not write blogs, you're not going to harvest any leads out of that. So in order for you to get leads and get the success you want, you need to plant something for you to get something out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Does anyone want to add anything to that at all? Satya?
Jerry, yeah, just this time 2 weeks ago, I hadn't got a clue how to do a Facebook ad. And I'd heard people talking about them over months, like, oh, they're so complicated, and Facebook are so strict, and there's all these stories, and it built up this kind of wall of almost fear about placing a Facebook ad. I can hear Dave laughing there. I think maybe you understand. And today, like only 2 weeks later from the day that I decided, right, I'm going to be doing I'm going to do this. I'm going to get to grips with it. And I did have to spend quite a lot of time getting to grips with it. And I kind of joke that I gave birth to my first Facebook ad because it went on for so long, this labour of trying to get all the parts together. But I learned so much in the process. I learned about writing headlines, about just small technical things like how to change the size of an image so that it's going to fit at the optimal size on Facebook. I discovered this tool. Well, somebody told me about it, where you can do that online. What else? How to do a lead capture page, how to set all that up, choosing images, writing text, and then, and then all the fun parts of, whenever you put your ad out, and then all the analysis that you can do when all the figures start rolling in, the percentages, and, which ad works better than the other one, and working out your click-through rates and how much money you spent on one ad compared to another ad. It's just such fun, and what a difference 2 weeks makes.
That's awesome, isn't it? Though it just goes to show that it's something that you just have to go through. Sometimes, and it can be anything. For me, for blogging, when I first started, I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do a blog? And now I blog every day, more or less. It's one of those things. Again, repetition. But Facebook marketing, I have to say, was one of my things, and I had to learn how to do it. And it's all good fun, but it's quite challenging. And
it's a big one,
you have to really try and push yourself through almost if you've got such a big challenge like that, and try and get as much of your thought processes as being a challenge rather than a block. It's like putting these blocks, another block down, and I know Stuart Litchman talks about these blockers, which is a completely different subject, I know, but you have all these different blocks, don't you, that you have to push through, and there's techniques in the book and what we use. Basically, you just have to do it. There's no ifs, no buts. You just have to get on and do it, and it's amazing. Thanks for that, Satya.
Could I just jump in there? Dave has very kindly posted in the private chat box here just the details of that website where you can change all the images in case anybody's wondering what it is. It's Pixlr, Pixlr.com. And if you want the optimal size for Facebook, it's 560 by 292.
That's it.
So, thank you, Dave.
No worries. I was just going to ask, I don't know if anyone agrees, but we're talking about learning these things like Facebook advertising.
Yeah.
That, just as one example, but imagine that was something you had to do for a job, maybe not particularly Facebook advertising, but I was thinking of other things like keynote presentations. I used to work in the audiovisual industry, and the whole industry is run on PowerPoint. You know, people doing PowerPoint presentations, and I hated it with a vengeance. I used to be the guy sitting backstage forwarding the slides quite often, you know, and it's just the most tedious thing in the world, and I used to avoid creating PowerPoints like the plague. But now that I'm doing it for my own business, I've learned Keynote, which is much better, and I absolutely love it. I've learned how to turn slideshows into videos, where to get the images and graphics from. I just love all that stuff. Facebook advertising, yeah, I just kind of love learning all these processes, but I think the big impetus is because I'm doing it for me. You know, it's not something I'm being forced to tediously learn with someone standing over my shoulder making sure I get it right. Yeah?
Definitely. I think it's the whole working from home and learning in your own place, in your own environment, in your own time. And once you've become accountable, that's what you need to do. So your accountability, that's what you're going to commit to. Yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot happier place, especially for me anyway, not having that person over your shoulder. Oh, is this being done? Is that being done? Or you need to do it like this. You know, you learn and develop your own ways of doing things. And for me, that's the best education platform you can have. That's just my opinion. So, does anybody else like to add? Because I know we're getting towards the end of our Hangout soon. So, have anybody got any thoughts they want to share? Any other techniques that we haven't mentioned before that we could use? Mindset that we could. Hey, Tarek.
Yeah, talking about confidence, because remember we were talking about confidence, because I know confidence is quite key. Because if you don't have self-confidence in achieving something, you wouldn't achieve it. For example, I can draw an example in sports, for like in football. You know, like if a player is not talented, usually it's his confidence that takes him the extra mile. You have to be confident that you can do this and you can achieve it in order for you to achieve it. If you have the talent and you lack the confidence that you can do it, you wouldn't achieve it. So it's always good to have that confidence and self-belief that you can achieve something in order for you to achieve it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tarek. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Right, I think so. Valda, is she here? No, she's not there. Right. I think she's gone. Kat, have you got any thoughts or any other techniques we could use, or shall we move on for a different topic for next week maybe? I don't know if there's anything we haven't covered or anything you want to add.
Well, I'm just having lots of thoughts. While I've been watching you progress, it's amazing. I'm speechless. The thing that struck me is that perhaps I think we're all people that don't really fit in the box, and we're brought together by a bigger magnet like SFM and Stuart and Jay. And because we can, you know, be ourselves, be our true selves, and see that, you know, I don't have to be like so-and-so, or I don't have to be like that to you know, get a success. And in fact, the more you are your own brand, the more you are yourself, the better it is. And of course, you know, that comes with confidence and mindset and everything else, because you can't, you know, I'm sure you learnt Facebook marketing before, but because you've done this 90-day challenge, which was, you know, horrendous for you, you've ploughed on through. So you've come across this big challenge. So now when you look at Facebook advertising, it's a completely different ballgame, because you know that you can, you know, you've got that confidence from deep down inside. It's not like, you know, you're being told that you can do this and you've got to do this, like, you know. I think that it's just amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Kat. Thank you. Dave, I think we're approaching the end. Have you got any last thoughts or comments or anything you'd like to add to tonight's Hangout?
I'm just going to say, I think probably someone's covered. I think probably Satya covered this, but I was just going to say, yes, I think you need to be confident, and I think everyone does have some kind of talent for something, but I just wanted to sort of say that confidence comes in a lot of different forms. And it isn't I'm pretty sure someone did cover this, but a lot of people think of confidence, and again, this might be a programming thing, as extrovert, and I really don't believe that's the case at all. So that's it. But confidence is, it can be a very quiet underlying thing. It doesn't have to be the usual, extrovert shouting from the rooftops. Look at me type of confidence. So I don't think there has to be any particular type of confident at all.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Dave. Awesome. Hi, Kieran. How are you? And how are you liking this hangout this evening?
Yeah, I think you guys all rock. I really do. I think you're proper rock stars, and and a big shout out to all of you. Really, you guys are blessed. And it just takes me back, to when I remember when I first joined. One of the things I heard with Guy and Alan were how they just love to see people develop, and there's no sweeter feeling than seeing people develop. And watching you guys, it's just seeing you guys taking the strides and seeing that confidence oozing out of you is just, I kind of got that little sensation which those guys must get when people start, and then they start finding themselves, and yeah, it's just it's a really nice feeling.
Oh, thanks for sharing, Kieran. Great, and you rock too, Kieran. You're part of the team. Okay. We're all rock on here. Thanks, Kieran. Satya, have you got any last quick thoughts or anything?
Jerry, I'm sitting here. I wrote another little message in the private chat box that nobody can see. We share between ourselves. But Jerry, you're smoking tonight. Like, you're just fully in your power, and the hair on the back of my neck was standing up listening to you when I joined at the beginning, and it's just amazing to watch the transformation happening in front of our eyes, and it's only been 6 months since you were trying to deal with walking into a room, and now you're like,
honestly, if you could see me 6 months ago, it took me ages to walk into that room because I just couldn't do it. It was and the whole thing was, but now I can't wait to go to the next one. Because I'm so confident, and I feel as though I know you all, even though I haven't met you in person apart from Dave. We've met in January, but it's very, very quite hard to describe the community in that sense that you think you know them, but you haven't actually met them. But because we communicate so much and so often, and we hang out and everything, it's just, oh yeah, she's my best friend, But have you met? Well, no, and it's quite a strange concept. Because we're so like-minded, and we understand where we're all coming from in terms of this whole mindset thing. So, thank you, Satya. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Just to mention, I have we all have this friend in New Zealand, Miranda, who's actually from England. Yeah, and she's in England these few weeks, but I'm flying over. Week after next to go and meet her in the flesh. Yeah, because we've built up such a close friendship. Through this, that it's a fantastic opportunity to meet her. Dave, you wanted to? Sorry.
No, it was just a stupid little thing. I just remember seeing this film, and I'm doing an event about it ages ago, and it's a company, you might have seen it, it's quite a famous video, and it's a fish market in Chicago, and they keep each other inspired. They shout and throw fish to each other, and that's what the whole video's about. And there's an events company based around that. It's called the Fish Thing, and this hangout sometimes reminds me of that kind of thing because everyone used to just throw fish at each other. So I just wanted to throw a fish.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
No, I wanted to be so good.
Awesome. Okay. Satya, I still got you. How can people reach you? I need to do that before we finish.
SatyaGillen.com and Skype. I love to Skype with people, and my Skype address is satya.gillen. And if you see the green light on, please get in touch with me. Just have a chat. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Jerry, and thanks everybody else. It's been a really, really great hangout tonight.
Yes, pleasure. Thank you, Satya. It's been awesome. Thank you. Tarek, how can we get hold of you?
You can get hold of me at tarekmarketing.com, and also you can get hold of me with the Success by Hangout group on Facebook.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight, Tarek. It's been brilliant having you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kat, how can we get hold of you, my darling?
katbyyoung.com or on the Success by Hangout Facebook page.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat, for joining us. It's been lovely having you here. Thank you.
It's been wild, Jerry. Absolutely wild.
Yeah. Dave, how can we get hold of you?
It's Dave Menzies. Sorry. Yeah, it's davemenzies.com. My Skype, I like Skype as well. And it's Wine Day UK. Don't ask.
Thank you, Dave. And it's been a pleasure as always having you here with us tonight.
You too. It's been great.
All right. Kieran, have you done yours? How can we reach out and get hold of you?
Yes, reach out and grab me. I'm out there. How?
Yes, and unfortunately, Valda, she lost her internet connection, but I'm sure you can get hold of Valda via Facebook and the usual suspects on Success. And me, I'm Jerry Hayes, and thanks very much for watching tonight. It's been a fascinating topic, very interesting what everyone had to say. And thank you guys for sharing your ideas and thoughts on tonight's subject. So good night from all of us from Success by Hangout team. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.